introducing this conversation that you started following the show kind of organically on Instagram, and that we had kind of connected. And based on a recent post, I reached out to you asking if you would ever be interested in doing an interview and sharing a little bit about yourself and your story and your journey. And thankfully, you jumped at the chance, so here we are.
Yeah. It was actually crazy because I was thinking that day, I was like, I really want to be more open, I want to talk to more people about it. And I was just thinking that, like, I want to, I don't know, I just wanted to, like, talk to someone about it. And you, like, reached out to me, and I was like, that's crazy, because I was just thinking that I wanted an opportunity to be able to do something like this. And you reached out to me, so I was really excited.
Well, I love having perfect timing.
I know.
Well,
It really was. It really,
I'm so grateful. Well, the first thing I would like to do is just have you formally introduce yourself to everyone as people are hopping on to join us.
yeah.
So if you could just kind of
Mhm.
tell us your name and your age and maybe a sentence about yourself, and then I'll ask you questions and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm Priscilla. I'm 23. I was born in New Mexico. I lived in Arizona until I was 18, and now I live in Houston, Texas. Um, I just recently got promoted to be a vet tech at my job that I work at. I work at an animal emergency clinic. I've worked there for about a year and a half. I have three cats. I have one in my lap right now.
Oh, I love cats.
I, I love to go to the gym, and I love animals a lot.
So the first question I like to ask is,
Mhm.
what do you think people's first impression of you is?
I'm a very loving person. I'm very passionate, and I like to make people smile. I think that I'm funny. I hope everyone else thinks that I'm funny, but I like to have, happy conversations with people, and, just make sure that I'm trying to always smile and make sure everyone else is smiling.
I love that. I love that. Well, I know when I see some of your posts and in the communications we've had, it's always felt very
Mhm.
warm on my end.
Thank
Even,
you.
I mean, what, 6 months ago we were just talking about followers and things like that. So
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
always been very, 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 very open. So
Thank you.
yeah. So you mentioned in your email to me when we were just getting this set up that you wanted to share a little bit more, and like you had just said a few minutes ago, where you wanted to be a little bit
Mhm.
more open about what goes on in your life and about some of the things that you struggle with. So I think I'll
Mhm.
just let you kind of tell your story and share about that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course. So I think it kind of started, I think about a year and a half ago, where I realized that I was talking to a lot of people more about how they were struggling with depression, and I finally could open more up about me, and my depression and my anxiety. And then I just realized that opening up with people and being honest and being like, hey, I'm not perfect. I do have my days where I really struggle, and it really helps people out. Um, so one day I was just kind of like, maybe I should just kind of go with this. Maybe I should be more open about it. And once I started being more open about it, it just made me feel better. Um, it just made me feel like I was being more truthful to who I was, and I think that that just kind of helped. I've had a lot of my friends reach out to me because of my post and tell me what they go through, and they finally have been able to open up to me, even if I've known them for a long time and we never really had those conversations. They finally felt comfortable where they could speak up about it, and they could message me and be like, hey, because you said this, you came out about this, like I feel like I can be kind of okay with where I'm at right now. And I want to try to just normalize that depression is okay. I try to be happy as much as I can, try to always, continue to grow, but there's still going to be days where I have, triggering moments, or just days where I'm sad and I have no idea why. So I just hope that by me telling people more of that stuff, it can help them out more. And I have seen that more of my friends have been more open about it on social media, and that just makes me so happy that because that's all I really wanted to do.
I think that's very commendable, and I think, tell me what you think, but I know because you said you're 23,
Yeah.
so I'm 42, and
Mhm.
so almost twice as old. Holy cow,
Yeah.
I'm getting old. But I remember, growing up, and I even in my parents' generation, the stigmas around mental health and depression and
Mhm.
anxiety, and the fact that people didn't talk about it,
Yeah.
and they, you can deal with it. You can deal with yourself.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think by you saying what you said about how you share and people, excuse me, come to you and
Mhm.
feel open about talking is kind of also why I do these shows. These
Yeah.
interviews, if you can identify with someone and feel like you're not alone, and
Mhm.
that there's other people out there going through what you're going through, and they're just like me. And then it makes a community around
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that that's a real positive thing, and it's very kind of you to open up and open
Mhm.
yourself up. And that's why I always, whenever I post hashtag no judgment,
Mhm.
because I feel like we shouldn't have judgment. If you're sharing about yourself and being
Yeah.
you, that's okay.
Mhm. Yeah. It is
So,
kind of scary sometimes posting those things because, like, I realize that not everyone has anxiety, not everyone goes through depression, and everyone views it differently. So sometimes I do get kind of scared being so open about some of the stuff that I go through because, you don't, I'm not going to reach everyone from my posts. I know that there's going to be some judgment, but I know that that's also not the point of why I post it. I post it so that I reach out to the people that do need it.
and I would assume that you're also posting it because it's therapeutic for you.
Yeah, it really is. There's some days where I have bad days and I'm like, I need to just let this out. And I may not make it seem like I need it, but I know that someone else needs it.
And I also have anxiety.
Mhm.
I'm very high energy, and people view me as a social person, but I also am very
Mhm.
reserved in new
Yeah,
settings. I get anxious about being around strangers.
yeah, that's
And
exactly how I am. I'm
yeah,
really shy when you get to, like, at first I'm really shy and everyone's like, I'm like uncomfortably shy. But once I get to know people, I'm like very loud and outgoing. And it's just because I have anxiety. And sometimes I need to just observe people to figure out where I can connect with them before I actually come out.
and I think it's also because you got to just take all of it in, right? You got to take
Yeah.
in your environment, see who's there, see who's around, get familiar with your
Mhm.
surroundings. Are you an analytical person?
Yes, very.
Me too.
Mhm. It helps me connect with people more.
It's definitely interesting. So
Mhm.
I assume through all of this sharing and discovering of yourself, and kind of like what you mentioned to me in our communications about the self love and getting to the
Mhm.
gym, and really all the therapeutic things you found for yourself, have you identified anything where you can say this contributed to the depression, this contributed to the anxiety?
Mhm. I think that before I started working out, it was kind of a point where I was like, I knew that I got over all the trauma that I kind of built in, and I was working through all of that, but I was like, I'm still unhappy, and there's still something bugging me. And I realized that I wasn't happy with the outside of myself. I was happy with the inside of myself and all the progress I made, mentally, and how I was doing so much better. So once I started working out, it helped me because I realized that I was not taking care of my body and I wasn't doing um, I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't taking the time out of my day to make sure that I had food in me, drinking enough water. So I started going to the gym with my boyfriend, and that has helped so much. I've gained like 15 pounds, and that's a big deal for me. Um, and I'm starting to feel confident in who I am, and that makes me more confident to speak about how I feel about things because it's just helped me become a better person.
That sounds amazing. And I'm sure, because I love to be in the gym, and during COVID, when
Mhm.
everything was closed, I was turning my dining room into a yoga studio just to get something.
Once everything kind of shut down, it was definitely hard for me. I tried to stay off social media for a little bit because it totally ruined. I have a schedule that I have, and that definitely helps me with dealing with my depression. So I had to take like a second, take a step back and be like, okay, I need to focus on myself because it was a lot for everyone just dealing with Corona and going into quarantine and not knowing what was going to happen. And but things are kind of getting, they're not getting better in Texas, but we're opening up.
Right.
Um, but I'm still getting to go to the gym and realizing that I don't know how long this is going to last until we can stay in the gym, but kind of just going with it and making sure that I'm still doing what makes me happy.
And that's so good to hear. I'm so glad. So you said something about progress that you'd made in dealing with the traumas, and and when you introduced yourself, you talked about moving from place to place. Um,
Yeah.
were your moves at certain ages where there was things that happened with that maybe um, there were instances that led to stuff that went on with you that may have triggered some of the things that you had to deal with?
Definitely. I moved when I was 18. I met my boyfriend here in Texas, so I moved um, from Arizona to Texas to be with him. It definitely was hard because I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a job at the time. Um, Luckily, I did live with his family and him, so that did it was hard. It's a different transition, and then kind of being away from family and having to just deal with everything. It was definitely difficult, and it was a process for sure. It doesn't um, it makes you kind of struggle with your depression when you kind of have to start from scratch on your life, and then you have to figure out what you want in life. Um, I thought that I wanted to be a daycare teacher. Turns out that was not for me. That really um, made me struggle with my depression. Just I worked with like 2 to 3 year olds and infants, and it's a lot of stress, and it was really hard. But once I found a career that I loved working with animals, it definitely um, changed my life. And being an emergency clinic, it helped with my anxiety because I would just have anxiety constantly when I first started. But we have a lot of critical patients, and when you have a critical patient, you can't have anxiety. You just have to, you know, just suck it up and worry about the pet that's in front of you.
You have to go for the other adrenaline.
Yeah, definitely. I have to get rid of the anxiety.
But I think that is so wonderful. I'm a firm believer. I feel like our animals know when we don't feel ourselves.
Yeah,
And people don't think that about dogs. We have, like I said, we have a cat. You have your cat in your
yeah.
lap, and I know on the days that I'm feeling a little off, Hensley's right there, and I don't know how he
Mhm.
knows or why he knows, but he
Yeah.
doesn't leave my side.
Mhm.
And I mean, still on his cat terms, far enough
Yeah,
away, but
definitely. They'll be there for a little bit just so that that they're there, but they'll be gone shortly.
yes. I like that you found your home in the vet tech world, and I like that speaks to you because I think that it's just as therapeutic for you as it is for the animals.
Yeah,
I
it has
think
helped
pet
me.
therapy is real.
Yeah, it's helped me grow to be a completely different person, a lot more confident when I talk to people because you deal with a lot of angry people, a lot of upset people, high emotion people because it's their baby and they're not doing good and people are worried about them. So you have to keep your composure, especially we do a lot of euthanasias. We have a lot of pets come in deceased, so we have to I'm a very emotional person, so it's really hard for me to kind of keep it together, but it's definitely made me a lot stronger because I know that I have to keep it together.
That's that. I imagine that would be rough, but I feel like you must be
Mhm.
so comforting to the families that come in and
Thank you.
are able to identify with them
Mhm.
because you seem so caring and so open.
Thank you. I really hope so. I know it's not easy doing it all the time and it can be very draining, but sometimes you can't really worry about yourself. You have to worry about them and then you have to worry about the pets most importantly.
And then you go home and hug your own, right?
I have my black cat that was on my lap. He's the only one that loves cuddles, so he can just be cuddling in my lap for hours. the others, they're just like, okay, you can stop now. But he's just like, I'm loving this. This is the life.
I love it. So, what is something that would surprise people to know about you?
Um, that's a good one. Because I try to be very open, so I try not to be very surprising. Um, I think people that don't know me personally, like don't know that I go to a lot of music festivals. I'm really into music. Um, I like to sing and I like to paint. I'm a very artsy person. It's been a while since I kind of painted, since I'm all about the gym right now, and I'm kind of like a one-track mind type of person, like one hobby at a time. Um, but I just like being creative. I think not a lot of people do know that.
What kind of music is your favorite?
That's hard. I think I like, honestly, I like all types of music. Even though I'm in Texas, I'm not a very big country fan. But my boyfriend has definitely found like my type of country that I'm into for short periods of time. Um,
Okay.
but since I go to music festivals, I go to like EDM music festivals, so I like EDM music and honestly, really anything that I can connect with.
Awesome. Um, you mentioned that you like to paint. At what age did you start painting?
It started when I was actually a daycare teacher, and I would decorate the classrooms, and I remember I made like a picture to put up on my classroom, and I was like, okay, I'm actually doing like a decent job. Like I had no idea that I could actually do it. So then I could kind of just started painting. I like going on Pinterest and kind of copying things. I'm not really good at just coming up with these crazy designs, but it's very therapeutic, and I like to do it.
That was what I was just going to ask you. So it seems like it was right around the time where you had moved. And so I wondered if getting into that was kind of like a release for you and again, therapeutic in dealing with
Mhm.
any of the anxiety.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like it was around the time that I moved out of my boyfriend's parents. We got like our first apartment, and then kind of he worked nights, so I'd be home alone a lot. So I had to find my own hobby by myself. So I kind of started, painting.
If you could speak to someone that, whether you reach them through your Instagram posts or through this interview, that may be struggling with depression or anxiety, what would you encourage them to do as maybe a first step to maybe reaching out to someone or maybe even reaching out to yourself? Just what would you recommend to them from what
I
you
think,
went through?
yeah, I would, if anyone is struggling, I'm definitely always here. I think that finding a hobby definitely helped me figure out who I was, and, finding all these different hobbies at different parts of my life kind of helped me express when I didn't know how to express. So I think that was very important, and I know that the gym has helped me with that. Um, I know that talking to people about things, even though it can be scary, has helped me a lot. One of the reasons that I did start to um, open up about things is I did reach out to my mom, and I told her, how I was struggling, and that's something that was a conversation we never really had. So I think that kind of helped me get over like a lot of stuff that I was holding in, and I finally felt like um, we could talk about things, and she could kind of understand more. I know that was like a big step for me, and I think that that would be a big step for other people is being honest about who you are, and if you're struggling, if you don't like who you are, then just continue to keep doing what you think is best for you, and that's definitely like the most important thing is making sure that you're working on what makes you happy.
So for you, it's obviously sharing and communicating
Mhm.
and kind of maybe crossing that hurdle of fear to open
Yeah.
up with others about what it is that you're feeling and how they may be struggling.
Yeah. I know that on some days, if I'm struggling to, like, I'll reach out to someone and just let them know that I care about them or to see how they're doing. And that always helps me because it makes their day, and then it helps me feel better. So I think that's, if people aren't ready to open up with someone, if just sending love to someone, that can definitely make you feel better too.
Well, I love that, and I think those are great recommendations and insights into how you helped yourself grow.
Hmm.
Um, so, is there anything else that you would like to share that maybe I haven't asked about before I kind of ask you the last question I normally ask?
Um, I don't think so. I think we hit some pretty good points.
I think it's amazing, and I can't thank you enough for being so open and sharing. And your strength is admirable, and your energy coming through right now. I mean, I haven't stopped smiling. I just feel this amazing energy from you, and I'm very
Mhm.
grateful that you found my page and followed it,
Thank
and
you.
that we got to connect.
Mhm.
And I hope that we will continue to stay in touch, and we can
Yeah.
get
For
Priscilla updates and see
sure.
how you're doing and how your career progresses and how life
Mhm.
progresses for you. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
Um,
This is definitely going to be the first interview. We'll have to do some more.
I love it. And so, as we close out, if there is one thing as people pass you by, as life moves,
Mhm.
whether it's people in and out of the vet office or just as you're in the market, if there's one thing you could hold up a sign and you would want people to know about Priscilla, what would you want them to know?
Mm, that's a good one. I think it would be probably, I just want to make you smile. I just
Well,
want, it
the
hasn't always
change.
been, it hasn't always been that in my life. And a part of my life I was very sad and I wasn't happy all the time. So now it's just really important to me to make sure that I, try my best to be happy. And, I know that not everyone, um, I guess that a lot of people do struggle with depression. So I hope that people that are struggling that I don't know about it, I hope that I can just make them smile and hopefully help them feel better.